You remember that bomb TLC dropped back in 2013 with their hit biopic? Yeah, the one that had everybody clutching their pearls. The film didn't just tell their story, it ripped the lid off some of the darkest secrets surrounding their ex-manager Pebbles, who also just happened to be the ex-wife of music mogul L.A. Reid. Now, let's rewind. Pebbles and L.A. Reid weren't just any couple, they were the power couple. Industry royalty. L.A. was the slick producer making hits. Pebbles was the glamorous hitmaker behind songs like Mercedes Boy. Together, they looked unstoppable. He even wrote Bobby Brown's Every Little Step as a love song for her. But behind closed doors, it was chaos. What started as a fairy tale romance quickly spiraled into drama so wild it could have been scripted. We're talking Pebbles allegedly trashing LA's home in a jealous rage. Glass everywhere, furniture smashed to pieces. Then there's the jaw-dropping story of her packing up LA's girlfriend's clothes, returning them, and sliding herself into the picture instead. Ruthless. By the time the biopic aired, fans weren't just shook. They were rethinking everything they thought they knew about TLC's rise, their finances, and the messy role Pebbles played in it all. And trust me, this was only the beginning. Before Pebbles became the infamous manager accused of wrecking TLC's finances, she was actually in the spotlight herself. And her big break? Well, let's just say it came at the expense of another rising star. See, Pebbles wasn't just a pretty face. She had that sharp, sultry tone and an ambition that could bulldoze through anyone in her way. Back in the late 80s, she crossed paths with L.A. Reid and his bandmate Babyface when their group The Deal was bubbling on the R&B scene. Both men admitted they were crushing on her, but L.A. was the one who won her attention. Now here's the kicker. Pebbles' first smash hit, Girlfriend, wasn't even supposed to be hers. That track, written and produced by L.A. and Babyface, had already been promised to none other than Vanessa Williams. It was literally a done deal, a handshake agreement. Vanessa was ready to record it, but once Pebbles stepped into the picture, that deal went out the window. L.A. and Babyface heard Pebbles sing the demo and decided right then and there, forget Vanessa, this record was Pebbles' golden ticket. And just like that, Pebbles' career was born, on a song that was never meant to be hers. The song blew up, Pebbles skyrocketed, and suddenly she wasn't just L.A.'s muse. She was his partner, his queen, and eventually his wife. But that bold decision, taking Girlfriend from Vanessa, was the first red flag of many to come. It showed exactly how Pebbles played the game. Ruthless, opportunistic, and always ready to snatch what she wanted. Once Pebbles got her eyes on Girlfriend, nothing and no one was going to stop her. She didn't just sing the track, she bought it, shelling out $18,000 cash and handing over 2 luxury cars, a Mercedes and a Jaguar, just to make sure the song was hers. That move cemented her reputation as someone who always got what she wanted. But it also left scorched earth behind. When Vanessa Williams found out that the record she was promised had been snatched, she was livid. Word is, she refused to even speak to L.A. Reid for nearly 2 decades. Imagine, one song created a Cold War that lasted 20 years. And honestly, you can't even blame Vanessa. Pebbles didn't just take the song, she made it a worldwide smash. Girlfriend shot up the charts, hit #1 on the Billboard R&B list, and transformed Pebbles overnight from a hustling background figure to a full-on superstar. But here's the wild part. Pebbles wasn't even happy with the final cut. Despite the record making her a household name, she openly trashed the production, saying it didn't match her vision. She even went behind the producers' backs to re-edit the song herself after it was finished. Who does that as a brand new artist? Pebbles. This wasn't just ambition, it was control. From the very beginning, Pebbles showed she wasn't just trying to sing, she wanted to own the room, the narrative, and the deal. And if that meant ruffling feathers or leaving other artists bitter in her wake, so be it. The gamble worked. Pebbles was now a certified star, but as we'll soon see, the same ruthless streak that won her Girlfriend would one day come back around in her infamous TLC scandal. On the other side, you had L.A. Reid, hopelessly head over heels for Pebbles. He wasn't just writing music anymore. He was writing love letters disguised as hits. In fact, Bobby Brown's classic, Every Little Step, that was straight from Reid's heart, inspired by his muse, Pebbles. But don't let the romance fool you. This love story was messy from the jump. Pebbles was still married to her second husband, and Reid already had a girlfriend when sparks flew. Pebbles herself admitted she tried not to fall for him, but the late nights in the studio, the endless hours of collaboration, and their instant connection made it impossible. And then came one of the wildest moments in music couple lore. L.A. Reid was chilling with Paula Abdul, going over choreography for Babyface's solo project, when Pebbles called to check in. A few minutes later, she showed up at his place, stormed straight into the kitchen, grabbed a broom, and started smashing all of his glass furniture. Did Reid see this as a red flag? Not at all. If anything, it made her more magnetic to him. Pebbles wasn't just a woman, she was a storm. Unpredictable, emotional, impossible to ignore. Reid was hooked. When she left her husband and moved into his building, it was game over. Pebbles even ended things with Reid's girlfriend for him. Literally packed up the girl's clothes and dropped them off like she was doing spring cleaning. Savage. By 1989, Pebbles and L.A. Reid were married, and in the music world, they were unstoppable. He had the industry clout, she had the star power, and together they were about to build an empire that would change R&B forever, LaFace Records. But remember, their foundation was built on chaos, and as history shows, that chaos would one day come back full circle with TLC caught right in the middle. By the early 90s, Pebbles, L.A. Reid, and Babyface had packed up their California dreams and moved to Atlanta, a city that was about to become the new capital of R&B. While L.A. and Babyface were laying the groundwork for LaFace Records with Clive Davis, Pebbles had her own vision. She wasn't just content being a star herself, she wanted to create stars. And just like that, she declared, "I'm starting a girl group. They're going to be huge." People laughed at first. Even Lionel Richie and Brenda Ritchie, who were house guests at the time, just nodded politely like, "Okay, Pebbles." But Pebbles wasn't joking. She spread the word across Atlanta like wildfire, in salons, in shops, even to the woman doing her nails. If there was talent in the city, Pebbles was going to sniff it out. And then it happened. During one of those hair appointments, Pebbles' stylist mentioned a teenage shampoo girl with a raspy voice that could stop traffic. That girl, Tian Watkins. The world would soon know her as T-Boz. Through T-Boz, Pebbles discovered another hungry talent, a pint-sized firecracker from Philly named Lisa Lopes, who was already calling herself Left Eye. Together with a third member, they were working under the name Second Nature. Pebbles saw the spark immediately and knew she could shape it into fire. Before long, Pebbles had pulled the pieces together, refining the lineup, giving them style, direction, and a name that would eventually echo around the world: TLC. What Pebbles didn't know at the time was that while she was handcrafting the future of girl groups, she was also laying the foundation for some of the biggest drama and ugliest money fights in R&B history. Because with Pebbles at the helm, the line between mentor and manager was always blurry. And when millions of dollars entered the chat, the bond between TLC and Pebbles would shatter in the most public way possible. At first, it looked like a dream team. TLC had the hits, Pebbles had the vision, and L.A. Reid and Babyface had the label power to take them global. Millions of albums sold, Grammys, music videos in heavy rotation. These women were everywhere. But behind the gloss, things were messy. Rumors began swirling that Pebbles wasn't just managing the girls, she was bleeding them dry. TLC themselves dropped the bomb publicly. "You can sell 10 million albums and still be broke if you've got greedy people behind you." And broke they were. By 1995, at the peak of their fame, TLC filed for bankruptcy, sending shockwaves through the music industry. How could the biggest girl group in the world be living check to check? Fast forward almost 2 decades later to 2013, when VH1 aired the biopic Crazy Sexy Cool: The TLC Story. The movie didn't hold back. It painted Pebbles as a ruthless manager, paying the women pennies, controlling every detail of their lives, and playing puppet master behind the scenes. Pebbles was furious. She went on a full-blown media tour trying to save face. On the Wendy Williams show, Pebbles called the portrayal a lie and insisted she never paid the women just $25 a week. She never personally handled their contracts, and she absolutely did not kick Chili out of the group. Instead, Pebbles flipped the script, claiming it was actually T-Boz and Left Eye who wanted Chili gone, because she was dating producer Dallas Austin. But here's the real kicker. Fans had always whispered that Pebbles' real issue wasn't Dallas. It was that Chili allegedly hooked up with Pebbles' own husband, L.A. Reid. That's the rumor that never died, and one Pebbles has denied for years. Whether true or not, the constant drama around TLC The money, the contracts, the allegations eventually took its toll. By the late 90s, Pebbles and La Reid's marriage had imploded. Divorce followed, and the business empire they built together was left in ruins. And here's where the juiciest rumor refuses to die. Pebbles has always insisted that one of the biggest cracks in her marriage with La Reid wasn't just business. It was personal. To this day, she and her daughter Ashley Reid claim that Chili and LA had an affair. Pebbles went on record. "Do I believe Chili slept with my husband? Absolutely. I didn't want to believe it then, but I saw things, and I've held it for 20 years. Chili and the rest of TLC have always denied it, but the allegation alone was enough to keep the fire burning for decades and permanently poison Pebbles' relationships with the group. And Pebbles didn't just stop at interviews. She went to war in court. She sued LaFace Records for $10 million, claiming they schemed to lure TLC away from her production company. She filed a $40 million defamation lawsuit against Viacom over the VH1 biopic Crazy Sexy Cool, the TLC story, arguing she was portrayed as a villain. The case never made it to trial. In 2018, the two sides quietly settled out of court. The details? Still sealed. Meanwhile, Pebbles tried to refocus on music. In 1995, she dropped her third album, Straight From My Heart, but it flopped compared to her earlier hits. By the late 90s, Pebbles had reinvented herself completely, saying she'd been called to a higher purpose. She took on a new name, Sister Perry. She launched Women of God Changing Lives Through Christ Ministries in Atlanta, telling the world, "I believe my higher calling is to use all my gifts to touch more lives." It was a shocking transformation, from chart-topping R&B diva to televangelist-style preacher. But even her spiritual rebirth couldn't save her love life. In 2000, Pebbles tied the knot for the fourth time with former MLB player Otis Nixon. Just like her other marriages, it didn't last. 4 years later, the couple split, leaving Pebbles once again in the headlines for heartbreak. After a 13-year silence, Pebbles resurfaced in 2008 with not one, but two gospel albums, Prophetic Flows Volume 1 and 2. The R&B diva turned minister now poured her energy into worship, sermons, and sharing her divine assignment with the world. By 2012, she gave marriage another shot, her fifth trip down the aisle. And this time, it seems the saying might be true. The fifth time really was the charm. For the past decade, Pebbles has kept her life grounded in faith, ministry, and a quieter kind of spotlight. Meanwhile, her ex, Antonio La Reid, has gone down in history as one of the most powerful music executives of all time. From Usher to Pink, Avril Lavigne to Outkast, his fingerprints are all over modern pop and R&B. He's remembered as a kingmaker, and Pebbles as the woman who once ruled beside him. So where does that leave their story? Maybe they share polite laughs across a Hollywood ballroom. Maybe they stay 10 feet apart, eyes locked but never speaking. One thing's for sure. When you mention TLC, Pebbles, and La Reid in the same sentence, the air still crackles with tension. Because here's the truth. Pebbles wasn't just a hitmaker or a manager. She was a lightning rod. A woman who built an empire, lost it all, found God, and still can't escape the rumors. To some, she's a visionary. To others, she'll always be the villain of TLC's rise and fall. And that's why her legacy remains one of the most polarizing in R&B history. A cocktail of hits, heartbreak, lawsuits, love affairs, gospel redemption, and scandals that BET and VH1 still can't stop digging up.